Hello there guys, it's Bulkawan here, back in another video, and today I'm going to do What If Deku Was Reborn part 39. Hope you enjoy it. So I'm sorry again for not uploading for like 6 days. So basically I went to the dentist and he removed a nerve from my tooth, but for some reason I still feel pain for a few days. I still feel it for now, but it's terrible. But I don't want to complain, so let's begin. Sorry, first off, a recap. So last part we covered Deku finally, or officially, be Aries guardian, and he introduced her to his family and future in-laws. But when he decided to let out everything on the table and tell them what exactly he is, his mom surprised him by telling him that she already know that he's a white ninja, so she already know that Deku is hiding something. So after telling them or showing them using his skill, all of them were shocked and sympathetic to Deku, telling him whatever he is, he's already a part of their family. And I think that's it for a summary. Let's begin. So Deku began his journey balancing taking care of Eri and training. And that was I was going to tell you, if Deku could not create clones, a lot of them. So he created a couple of clones, one to help Aizawa with training or training 1A, and the other one to take care of Eri. And he used his gate to sometimes call his mom to help him because, well, he's dealing with a 5-year-old. He doesn't know exactly what to do yet. And the real him go train with his dad or stepdad. I don't know what should I call him yet. Let's stick with King for now. And this continued for a few days until Deku got bored. Literally nothing is happening in his city. Nothing. So one day he's thinking what he should do, then it hit him. Maybe he should take a look at Hosu City. It's been a while since he had been there, plus he's going to check on Ingenium. And it's going to take him no time because he's already been there, so he can use his gate. And when he arrived, he started hearing commotion, so he leaped to action and saw Ingenium running after some thugs. And when they get to the car and start driving, the car was not moving. They peek and saw the car is floating, covered with seems look like electricity. Ingenium was surprised. Then he heard a voice above him and tell him, "It's been a while, Ingenium, so do you need some help?" He looked up and there is Deku. Ingenium asked him what he's doing. Deku replied that he was in the area, so does he need a hand? Ingenium laughed a bit and tell him, "Yeah, I guess I need some help." So Deku immediately used his power to almost ejecting everyone from the car and covering them in electricity so they cannot move at all. And after a few minutes the cops show up, he hands over the thugs and they take him. The crowd, I just realized something. Every fight in My Hero Academia there's always a crowd. Why don't they just run away because they can get killed or hurt? My kid also will stay to see the fight, so yeah, let's continue. After that, Ingenium tells Deku if he's busy. Deku shook his head and told him that he will stay here for a while. Why? Ingenium replied, "Well, I just want to show my gratitude from you helping me for the second time." Deku think about it and he realized that yes, it's actually the second time he helped him, so sure, why not? But we should go to a secluded area because I don't want to attract any attention. Ingenium smiled and tell him that he already know that he's going to say that, so he proposed to go to his office. When they arrived, everyone at agency was shocked to see White Ninja there, but Ingenium told them to go back to their work and they went to his office. And after giving Deku a drink, he thanked him for healing him. Deku replied, "Just don't mention it." Then he asked him what is his motive. Deku raised an eyebrows and told him, "Pardon?" Ingenium once again, why did he become this White Ninja character? Why did he decide to do this? And what is his end goal? Deku replied jokingly, what is he, an officer? Is he interrogating him? At that point, Ingenium backs off and apologizes if he stepped out of line. Deku laughed and told him that he's just messing with him. And to tell the truth, I never thought of being a hero or doing this. It just happened. Ingenium asked, wait. Tensei asked him how. Deku replied, well, you remember Stain? Tensei nodded. So one night I was heading back from a part-time job and I heard a scream, so I rushed there and saw Stain holding a sword above a hero and he's going to kill him. Luckily I did have this uniform at hand, so I put it on really quick and stopped Stain, but sadly he managed to escape. But we did manage to talk a bit, and I realized that he's not a villain. He's just a normal person that was pushed too far by this society. So I make it my mission to stop Stain before he destroys himself. And it did take few months, but eventually I was able to get through to him. But during this time, a lot of people started referring to me as White Ninja, so I'm stuck with this nickname. Ingenium tell him, I see, but why did you continue? You did stop Stain. Deku replied, here's the thing, after I stopped Stain, I was thinking of stopping, but after seeing how people are more safe while I am around, and that include my loved ones, I decided to continue doing this for a little while. And here we are. Tensei stays silent for a few seconds, then I tell him, that's it? Deku just nod and tell him, yep, that's it. Why, did you expect something else? Tensei replied, to tell the truth, yes. I thought you have a tragic backstory and you want to change the world. Or Deku sighed and tell him, Tensei, try to tone down the hero movies. Tensei got embarrassed and started scratching the back of his head. And Deku tell him, well, you're not wrong about the tragic backstory. I was a late bloomer, so from age 5 to 15 I was bullied almost out of my mind. Then my quirk finally decided to show up, but I didn't have a clue what to do with it, or what is it, until someone show up and teach me how to use it. Plus, my hairstyle and my white hair are basically a copy of his technique. Ingenium was baffled. Deku actually have a tragic backstory, but he doesn't mention it. He asked him why. Is this guy still alive? Deku shook his head and told him he passed away a few years back. My condolences. Thanks. At the very least, he died peacefully. Anyway, I have to go back to my training, so can I see your phone? Tensei hand over his phone to Deku. Deku types something on it and give it back. Then Deku tell him, this is my number. If you need help, just call me. Tensei replies, sure, why did you trust me so much? I can easily give this number to the police and they can track you down. Deku tell him, yes, you can, but I know you won't. You could say that your brother and I are friends. Plus, I have a gut feeling that something will happen, and my gut feeling is always right. Plus, your brother take height of you, so I'm sure that you will not let me down. Tensei smile and tell him that either. I never thought he will have this type of friend. Deku smiled and he left. So Deku returned to his dorm, and like he expected, everybody is training, and decided to do the trick that he usually do in the other world. He started healing them from afar. So imagine everybody start getting stronger little by little. I'm pretty sure guys already know how training works. You break your muscle and start rebuilding them. That's the gist of it. But with Deku healing, he constantly healing them. So it's resemble a Zenkai boost. Almost. It doesn't give them a huge power boost from nowhere in a short period of time, but it works in the long run. And Deku keep doing it until the end of the day. Then one day Deku got a call from All Might telling him to go to Night Eye Agency. He asked why, All Might tell him to just go, and he will be there, so they need to talk. Deku's a bit weirded out, but he complied. So when he arrived at Night Eye Agency, he goes straight to his office, and when he entered he saw All Might, Night Eye and Gran Torino. Deku asked what's happening, what's going on. Night Eye tell him to take a seat. Then Night Eye speak first and tell him, do you know the reason why I called you to start doing a work study in my agency? Deku start taking the tell him maybe because I bested the night user of One For All. Night Eye was taken aback. He tell him, do you know about One For All? Deku nod and tell him, All Might did give me the opportunity to become the night user, but I declined because frankly I'm way stronger than him. And I have a hunch that you guys already know that. Night Eye and Gran Torino are speechless. They look at All Might just shrug and tell him, I told you so, this kid is something. Then Deku see that Gran Torino is a bit hurt. He asks him, is he okay? Gran Torino nod and tell him that he has some complication in his last mission. He was able to capture Kurigiri. Deku tell him, oh, the portal guy, right? That guy was a pain in the butt. Gran Torino asks, you know him? Deku nod tell him, yeah, he's the one who saved a member of the Suicide Squad. Gran Torino tell him, fair enough. Then Deku tell him, let me patch you up. Deku looked at him, his eyes glow, and he was healed. Gran Torino cannot believe it just by looking at him. Then he tell Deku, what are you, kid? Deku tell him, well, I am a guy that was trying to beat All For One. And I cannot tell you who or why or when, but there was another group that was after All For One. So they trained me in one condition, that I will kill All For One. Night Eye and Gran Torino jaw dropped to the ground. What? Kill All For One? Deku just nod. And you will not tell us who? Deku shook his head, tell him, nope, that's my secret. And sorry, I cannot share it. And I think that's it. After Night Eye snapped out of it, he shook his head and tell him, yeah, I think we are done here. Deku tell him, well, it's been nice seeing you, but I have a little girl waiting for me. Then All Might get up and tell him let's go together. And right before Deku leave, Night Eye ask him, who are you, kid? Deku tell him it depends. It can be your ally, your friend, or your worst nightmare. Basically, I'm a Dragono, but I can reassure you with one thing. I'm on your side. Then Deku leaving Night Eye and Grand Traino baffled. Then All Might tell him, are you sure you don't want to tell them what exactly are you? It would make your work way easier. Deku tell him, yep, I know, but I don't trust them that much, especially with this type of secret. Even though I know that he's your master and he was your sidekick, I want to keep my secret to myself as much as possible. Only reveal it when it's needed. I might tell him that he understands where he's coming from. So when they return to UA, Aizawa tell them about the school festival and they have 2 weeks to prepare, if I remember correctly. So everyone start brainstorming for ideas. They come up with the same idea that they did in the anime. And Mina starts showing them how to dance, so she tells them they start going to train right away. So they start training, and for the first time in a while Deku is having problems. He never danced in his whole life, and everybody feels refreshing seeing Deku struggle as much as them. So they spend the rest of the day training. Then Deku got a phone call from Tensei. Deku answer and Tensei asks for his help. Deku tell him we'll be right there. He transforms and tell them that Tensei needs something from him. And guys, a small point that I forgot to mention. For the past few days, Deku was working with Tensei or Ingenium, so I just realized I did mention it, so sorry about that. So everyone wish him good luck. Then Deku saw Eri, he go on her level and pet her and tell her, don't worry, I will be right back. Eri nod, Deku up a portal and jump through it, straight to Hoso City, and go where Ingenium tell him to meet him. When he arrived, he saw a SWAT team, Ingenium and few other heroes. One of the SWAT member asked him what are they waiting for. Ingenium tell him, back up. Then they heard a voice above them telling them backup is here. Look up and there is White Ninja. Ingenium was impressed and tell him how did he arrive this fast. Deku smirk and tell him ninja techniques. Well, technically he's not wrong. Then he asked what's going on. Tensei explained that they got information that a group that sells drugs, specifically quirk drugs, and he called him just in case something big happened. And he apologized if he was in the way of something, or Deku did have some plans for the night. Deku shook his head and told him that he did nothing wrong. He did say if he needed his help, he will be there. Plus Deku have a bad feeling about this. So while discussing a plan of action, one of the SWAT member approached Deku and tell him, what do you think of this? Showing him a watch that have Deku White Ninja form on it or in it. Deku reply, nice. SWAT tell him, yeah, my boy gave it to me as a present. Deku smirk and tell him, your boy have class. And then immediately return to business. So after giving Deku a layer of the place, and when they start the raid, Deku immediately create a wall of lighting all around the building. Nothing can get in, nothing can get out. And needless to say, that was a piece of cake. Not even a cake, it's almost like a slice of pizza that just got out of the oven. So soft, and on top of that metal cheese. I'm getting out of track. Let's return to the story. So with stopping all of the thugs, Deku stopped most of them. The same squad members started getting angry. Deku catch on that and tell him what's going on. He point at one of the thugs and tell him that bastard used a quirk drug on my son. We don't know what type of drug that he used on him, but it's something new and it's defective. Deku start thinking maybe he got it from overhaul. So Deku keep quiet for now, and the officers start escorting everybody out of the building, and they leave that thug the last. Deku stop them and tell them wait. You know what? Let's call that SWAT guy Yami. Don't ask why. So Deku looks at Yami and tell him, give me your gun and your badge. He was reluctant, but he eventually gave in and gave Deku his gun and his badge. Then Deku freed the thug and looked at Yami and tell him, you have 5 minutes. That's all I will give you. He's all yours. Then Deku signaled to the other group and the heroes and tell them to get out. Everybody did. Then Yami started cracking his knuckles and started beating the thug senseless. Ingenium in outside asks Deku what he's doing. Deku simply tell him that Yami is getting justice for himself. Then Ingenium tell him what if he kill him. Deku shook his head and tell him that he won't. He want to make him suffer, not kill him. You could say this is payback before he go to prison. And in less than 4 minutes, Yami get out, blood all over his gloves. Deku looked at him and tell him, you're done? Yami nod. Deku tell him good, so he go to the thug, placing his hand on him and use his lightning to erase 3 minutes of his memory. But he doesn't heal him. And that shock was more than enough to knock him out temporarily. So he give it to officer and they take him away. They ask him what he did to him. Deku explained that he erased the last 3 minutes of his memory. Then Yami asked him how much he can erase. Deku tell him, for now I can erase 5 minutes at max. That technique is quite draining. training. And before you guys tell me where Deku got this technique, the dude can read minds. Surely he can erase some memories, or recent one. Then Yami grabbed Deku aside, thank him, but he asked why did he did this. Deku tell him, between you and me, from father to father. If anyone touch my kid, I want to make them suffer with my own hands. Yami was shocked and tell Deku, does he have a kid? Deku tell him, yeah, little girl, but it's a bit complicated. Yami doesn't want to intrude, so he tell him I see. Then they go outside. Then Deku sensed something that shook him to his core. Magic in this world. But it's different, it's dark and cold, he almost suffocate in it. Then he saw one of the thugs grab a magic stone from his pockets. Then the thug yelled, you're all going to die. He pointed the stone at them and it started glowing, but nothing happened. Then the thug starts screaming in pain. The magic stone is burning him, it's almost like eating him alive. And basically it's taking his life force, not actually eating him. Then Deku realized this is not a magic stone, this is a blast stone. Then Deku rushed with lightning speed, cut the villain's hands off using zero gravity and throw it as high as he can. Then it explodes, sending a massive shockwave. After the villain realized that he just lost his hand, he starts screaming in pain. Then Deku looked at him, used his power to heal him. The villain started thanking him, then Deku asked him, quite aggressively, who gave you that stone? The villain was taken aback, then Deku reiterated again, pointing a sword to his neck and tell him, I'm going to ask once again, who gave you that stone? The villain started begging and tell him that a man in a cloak just gave it to him. He didn't see his face or anything, he just gave it to him after showing him its power. Deku still have doubt that he's a bit lying, so he put his hand on his head and read his memories. That man in the cloak gave him that stone earlier today, but he's covering his face. The only thing that Deku saw is his hand is almost like dark red. Then Deku tell that villain, the guy that gave you that stone, he was only using you as a puppet. That stone was ready to blow up the second you touched it. Then Deku turned and the cops take the villain away. After that, some reporters start showing up because the massive explosion was seen from miles away. Deku tell Tensei that he have to split, so he will see him later. Tensei thank him, then Deku bolted out of there. Quickly open up a portal and go straight to the other world. And straight to his dad. He tell him that something big just happened. His dad is telling him to calm down. Deku yell at him, tell him how should I be calm? I just destroyed a magic stone in my world. His dad was taken aback, then he looked at Deku dead in the eyes and told him to calm down, releasing a bit of power, and that make Deku calm down. Then his dad asked him for details, and he explained what happened. Then his dad tell him, this is troublesome. You are the only person that I know that can use the gate to travel between worlds, and if this guy just get a hand of mana stone, so it seems that there is another one that can use it, but the dark presence, it can't be. Deku raised an eyebrows and tell him, you know something that I don't. His dad nod and tell him, what I am about to tell you, do not repeat it to anyone. Hear me? Not your girlfriend, not your mom, I don't care. No one will hear about this. Deku nod. His dad explained that our world and his world were connected. Deku nod. Then he tell him that there is another world, the third one, that was also connected to our world and your world at the same time, but it's completely different from mine and your world. It's full with dark beings, we call them devils or demons, whatever you want to call them. I'm pretty sure in your legends they talk about demons. Deku nod. Tell him, so that's why I never saw a demon in my life in this world. They came from another one. His dad nod and tell him, but like I told you, our world is completely different from that world. The sky is pitch black. Rain? No, it's raining fire. So basically it's hell. And that world is completely filled with demons. No monsters, no human, only demons. And they are quite powerful. Then Deku tell him, you think that was a demon? The one who gave him the blast stone? His dad shook his head and tell him, I don't think so, because that world doesn't have any magic stone in it, only this world, and that is my biggest concern. So it seems that someone went from this world to the demon realm, then he went straight to yours. But what is the meaning of this? What he was after? Deku tell him maybe he wants just destruction. His dad shook his head and tell him demons never go after destruction alone. They must have a purpose to do that. Then Deku tell him, you know a lot about demons and their realm. His dad looked defeated and tell him, sadly I know a lot. And I'm going to stop it right here. So what do you think, guys? What's Deku's dad hiding? And who's the man in a cloak? Leave your thoughts in comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. And like always, guys, peace.